Oh, poor Peacemaker.
Oh no, why is he's hitting the shoulder that he's supposed to be
poor
protecting.
shoulder.
Everybody fucking hates you.
I like you. Oh.
He's so right though.
Why do I enjoy the grown man crying so much?
I love that he put on a Firehouse record too to cry to.
He killed Rick Flag. He did.
Right.
Yeah, man. That's you, dog.
Peacemaker.
Why am I laughing at this poor man's pain? This is... Oh, God.
What the fuck are you doing?
Guys, I know you were crying as well. We were crying of laughter most of the time through these first 3 episodes of Peacemaker. Chris and Rob here, the Jersey Comic Crew. And of course, we have to break down DC's newest Deadpool-esque series, Peacemaker, episode 1 through 3, our review and reaction right now. Rob, what did you think of the first 3 hours of James Gunn fully fledged on television?
Brilliant mastermind James Gunn is. This show is chaotic. It's so fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but then you get these moments of like straight badass fighting scenes. We gotta talk about this. Like him hooking up with this random chick. First of all, she's dressed 80s style with the big hairspray. Hysterical.
Couldn't be more 80s.
But then we find out she's some kind of mutant creature, kicks him out of the window, fights him, stabs him a couple times, and that's when I realized I was like, oh, this is real. Like the knife is going into him, right? It's not slashing him. I was like, oh, this show is getting dark. And then ultimately he explodes her using the sonic boom from his headset.
That was great.
And then you get the cops showing up, and then you see the possum Eagly brought there, just the full circle. Eagly is the best. I want every episode to have Eagly in it. I just want an Eagly show. But this show does a great job of comparing funniness with crazy high-pack action.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm a little on the fence as far as, you know, everyone's role. Some of it is, I feel like they're trying to be really funny, and it's not hitting home with me. Obviously, Cena is hilarious in his role. This is like a role for Cena.
Yeah.
Some of his assisting characters aren't hitting home for me, but I find myself laughing more so when it's the random characters that are just in like snippets, like
Vigilante.
like Vigilante's okay for me. I thought the janitor was the funniest thing in the first 3 episodes. I thought where he's jumping from, you know, the apartments and that couple he has to tie up while they suck at a marriage and she's like hitting on him.
He ends up sleeping with her later though.
Oh, so great. Like that was hysterical. That whole interaction where they're just yelling at each other while he's tying them up and she's like totally hitting on him over like the Cinderella album, because of course he had to take the albums and distract himself. Obviously Eagly's great, but I find myself laughing more at the kind of guest starring character roles than the assisting characters most of the time. But yeah, I absolutely love that scene where she jumps out and like he blows her up with the helmet. But I'm still trying to find the footing of like, okay, direction, I kind of get where it's going, but I'm not laughing kind of as hard as I thought I would.
Really? I'm dying every second of every episode. The only thing I kind of question, right? So we know that this is like Amanda Waters' B team, right? This is Argus B team coming in, doing the stuff with Peacemaker. We have to talk about, I feel like they dropped this little hint. And in these first 3 episodes, they haven't talked about it. Amanda Waters' daughter is the new girl on the team.
Yeah.
What?
That was crazy. Like, yeah, we kind of like were wondering, okay, how does she fit in? She seems very new. She really seems like she doesn't know what she's doing, right?
No.
Like you get hired for a job and there's no training and they're just like, here you go. But yeah, she's very new, and I'm really wondering what her quote unquote not just role is, but what her little secret is.
Yeah.
And to me, it's almost like going to be something obvious and not as deep, right? Like sometimes James Gunn does that, right? We saw it with Ratcatcher, where she becomes this key to finishing the film, and it's not so much about her power set, it's about what she can do. Yeah. And I think with her, we're expecting like she's Amanda Waller's daughter, right? She must have some crazy cool powers, or she must have some crazy deep cut ways of doing spycraft. I think it's just that she's just a normal person and can just get you to trust her. I think that's the extent of it.
I think I'm 100% on board. I think her secret ability, right? Because Waters, like, someone of your skills could do this, right? I think it's just she can make people believe her. She can make people trust her, and she's naive. She doesn't have the skill set, but they're willing to divulge secrets to her because they don't view her as a threat. And I think that's what it is. And Walter's using her to get all this kind of stuff. I think it's cool. What about Peacemaker's father? Like, I didn't realize that Peacemaker came from like such a broken childhood, right? Like, the only happiness I saw from Peacemaker's father was when they heard Idris Elba's character was getting tortured by rats, and he was loving it, laughing so much he almost choked and died.
Yeah, he's literally a monster.
Yeah.
Rob Patrick's playing his dad, who, you know, obviously all the 90s kids like us know him from Terminator 2. He was the Plasma Terminator, the T-1000. And he's a great actor, and he's kind of perfect for this role as this, like, crazy right-wing, hardcore, racist, like, checks every box. And I think what made me happy going into that really harsh scene and, like, how he interacted with the cops is really uncomfortable.
Oh my God, racist.
I think the funniest thing was the neighbor just cutting shrubs, cursing at John Cena. Yes. And like they were like, he's like, screw you, old man. And he's like, like flipping him off. And like that was great. And but seeing their dynamic, right? Of seeing how even though Peacemaker knows his dad is absolutely terrible, right? And we know now that he is the previous Peacemaker before him.
I was about to say, is he the previous Peacemaker?
It seems like it. It seems like it's kind of like a family thing, and it seems like, you know, Chris is trying to kind of be in his father's footsteps. Not exactly, right? Because he's not, you know, as racist or crazy. Obviously, he has a lot of, like, you know, ridiculous male-female roles in his head, like as we saw at the diner with the sugar tits mentioned.
He's like, well, it's a compliment. You talk about the cheeks. They're like, no.
He's like, that's totally inappropriate. Like,
but I gotta give the show credit, because the second he said sugar tits, I was like, oh, what is he doing? And then everybody was like, what are you doing, man? And I'm like, beautiful. It calls it out. Oh
yeah, they're gonna call that he's like this 80s trope, right? Like this absolute stuck in this world. But like he's definitely still trying to make his dad proud of him, even though his dad is so far gone down the rabbit hole and is a complete monster. And I'm actually worried about him now, because sending him to jail and the framing and all that mess up might have reawakened him, and we clearly see he is more power there than he does outside.
So obviously he's been to this jail plenty of times. He knows the people in there. They called him White Dragon. What is White? I don't think I was trying to look this up. I can't see anything to White Dragon. I think it's a whole new thing. Is that like the Klans?
With your Google search on that one.
Yeah, it sounds like the Klansman's secret identity. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to search it up.
I think it's something along the line of some type of, you know, White Reich thing going on, where they kind of made up a term for him in the show. I think it's a very much a supremacist role. That's why also, like, all those guys came out of nowhere in the beginning, right? It kind of plays it cool, like, oh, are they going to beat him up? Is it like a new guy, old man thing? And then, no, they kneel in front of him and like welcoming him back. And it's kind of like that shock of, oh, okay, he's been here before. So, like, I think that's what you're going to see, kind of also the side conflict while they're dealing with the main threat of the show.
Last point with John Cena, Peacemaker and his father. We do know, like, he does want to get his approval from the father, but he also wants to be better, right? He mentions, he's like, listen, I guess I don't want people thinking I'm racist. I guess I got to kill more white people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I got to increase my ratio here.
And that was one of the best parts, because he says that in the beginning with the janitor, and he's like, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Like, very helpful.
Like something as ridiculous as that.
Oh,
like
my
between
God.
like, we smoked weed together. He's like, don't trust me. And he's like, I would never betray a secret. He's like, you just said the complete opposite. I just want them two talking for like the whole thing. And I'm really hoping he becomes kind of like Pinder, the taxi cab driver in Deadpool.
Yes, that'd be great. How great was the Aquaman jokes? Aquaman has sex with fish. I don't believe it. I know a guy at the docks and he does it. He's like, nope, hey, I ain't believing it.
He's like, hey, don't say that about Aquaman. He's like in his face about it. Like, I thought it was great. I just want that. Like, that to me is the really funny James Gunn parts.
Yes.
I feel like some of his characters are trying a little too hard to be funny. I don't really find the new girl that funny. I find her like kind of messy in a part of the story that's necessary. I don't necessarily find her funny. I find Economos, aka Diebeard, very funny.
He's great.
I get Hardcore's area. She's the hardened, like, badass who has no time for anything. That's eventually going to be softened. And
I agree that, like, they're not all like funny as they can be, but I don't think that's the point. I think them in that little like mixed hybrid role, I think it works fine for the show. Guys, that is our initial thoughts on the first 3 episodes of Peacemaker. Let us know what you thought of the show down in the comments below. We're excited to hear your thoughts.
And guys, thanks so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, like, really helps the channel out a lot. If you're new, subscribe, turn on notifications. You don't miss any more of our Peacemaker talk. As Rob said, we're doing another video that's coming out in a few days, and we're going to cover every single episode. And if you missed anything, make sure you check it out on the channel here. And as always, I'm Chris Heller. That's Rob Moran. We're the Jersey Comic Crew, and we'll see you next time.